Hey, this is Professor Homa from CSC 103W1, Spring 2023, and I just wanted to go over editing a image of black dogs, or two black dogs actually I have. Two students put these in their discussion board, and since I have a black dog, their features are hard to see sometimes, and these were really hard to see, and I did a little before and after in their forums, but I thought I'd share this with everybody of what to do if you happen to have a black dog and it's hard to see their face. This is Jules' dog, and this is Kayleen's dog, and I have a dog, Parker, that's a black lab mix that is also hard to see sometimes in photos. And this particular photo is really bad. There's no detail in the shadow at all, and it's in front of some light, so there's only so much I could do with this. And what I did was just take a screenshot from their picture that's in the forum. So I didn't even use the original photo, so this is going to be worse. But I'll show you what you could do with it. I'll do Jules first because that's a little easier. And what you would do is go to Image, Adjustments, Shadows, Highlights, and move this to the side. If you turn Preview on and off, it kind of makes it a little chalky, so you got to be careful with it. You don't want to do too much. You can increase the radius, and it'll kind of do a lot. So if you increase the radius a little bit, it helps a little. Tone will brighten it up just a little bit. And then amount, you got to be careful not to do too much, but that's brightening it up quite a bit, and that looks pretty good. So this is Shadows, Highlights, and I'm working with the shadows, so I don't do anything with the highlights. And then after I do that, I like to go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, and kind of brighten it up a little bit. I'll go over here to the highlights, just brighten it up a little bit. You can even darken a little. You want to be careful not to darken the darks because you're doing the same thing that you just lightened in Shadows, Highlights, but you could add a little more contrast by moving that over. So by lightening the highlight a little bit, bringing the dark over just a little bit to add a little more contrast back into it, but still having the detail in the shadow, and that looks a lot better. I'll hit OK. I'll click off of this so I don't have the transform control showing, and then I'll go to Filter, and I'll go down to Sharpen, and you would think go to Sharpen, but I'm going to go to Unsharp Mask so that you can kind of see it. And I don't know if it's because I'm not on the I think because I'm not on the layer. If I don't click on the layer, it's not showing up. So I have to click on the background and go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And now I'll put it on Preview. You can see it sharpens things up a little bit, and that looks pretty good. And that's at about 142%. Typically with sharpening, you'd only sharpen it a little bit, but with this dog picture, I might increase it quite a bit. And there, it looks pretty good. So that's what it looks like now, and when I opened it, it looked like that. So after, before, after, before, a lot better. And then I'll go to Kayleen's. Now this is a tough one here, and I'll do the same thing. I'll go to Image, Adjustments, Shadows, Highlights, and I'll try the same thing. I'll increase the radius here, and it's getting a little bit, and I'll increase the tone a little bit, and the amount. Now normally I wouldn't go too much with the amount because that'll really make it kind of chalky looking. So just by doing that a little bit helps. A little bit of the tone, a little bit of the radius. And again, with most photos I don't mess with the radius and the tone, but these are really bad in terms of, you know, the shadows going on here and trying to get some detail. And that looks a little better. And then what I'll do is go into Image, Adjustments, Levels, and the same thing. You can see when I adjusted that, I lost a lot of the darks, but that's okay. But I am going to brighten up the lights a little bit just to brighten up the whole image. And if I want a little contrast, I could bring that in. I don't want to darken everything again and do what I did the first time, but I could get a little more contrast back in here. And I'm kind of narrowing my range here, and that looks a little better, I think. Maybe it's a little too light. And I'll hit OK. And then I'll go to Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, and again the same one that I had on the other one. I'll do Preview. It looks a little bit better, and this is about the best I'm going to get with this photo. It's not a great photo. The dog was probably moving a little bit. There's light in the background. You always want to have the light in the foreground if you're taking a picture of a black dog like that. Having light in the background, or anybody, they'll not come out very well. And let's see, here's the before and here's the after. Before, after. I'll click off of this. Before, after. So that's just using Shadows, Highlights, using Levels, and Filter, Unsharp Mask. So just a little tip for anybody out there with black dogs or anything where you have photos with lots of dark shadows in where you want to bring in some detail.